Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are absolutely tearing down everything we've been taught about traditional wealth building. Because let's be real, if you've ever felt like the financial advice you've been fed your entire life is kind of rigged, well, you are spot on. We're going to dive into the actual nitty-gritty mechanics of how truly exceptional wealth is generated. And spoiler alert, it's not by hoarding pennies for 40 years. It's about doing it in just a few. Get ready because we are completely shifting how we look at time, money, and your own potential.
I really want you to take a hard look at the question right here and be honest with yourself. Are you actually living your life, or are you just trading away your precious, non-refundable hours for a paycheck that instantly vanishes into EMIs, rent, and a mountain of bills? Because literally millions of people wake up every single day, sit in endless traffic, grind at a job they merely tolerate, and come home totally drained just to do it all over again. They hold out for years for some tiny promotion, basically just living for the weekend. It really makes you wonder, right? Were we actually meant to just pay bills and fade away, or is there a massively better way to design our lives?
Section 1. The Slow Lane Trap. Okay, let's dive into this. The system has essentially sold us a massive lie. Author M.J. DeMarco calls it the Great Deception. You know the script, right? We're all handed it at birth. Study super hard, get a safe 9-to-5 job, pinch your pennies, stash a little away, and then just wait until you're 65 years old to finally start enjoying your life. Think about how crazy that is for a second. The core promise of this entire system is literally don't live now, live later. And it's wild how blindly society just accepts it. Because when later finally rolls around, your youth is gone, your energy is tapped out, and those grand dreams of traveling the world, yeah, they usually just fade into trying to cover medical bills. That's not freedom at all. It's just delayed punishment.
So, there are essentially three main financial roads you can travel in life. The first is the sidewalk. This is for people living purely in the moment. Sure, they might actually earn a lot of money, but they blow it all on fancy cars and gadgets. They're living paycheck to paycheck with zero plan for tomorrow. Then you've got the slow lane, which we just talked about. That's the super cautious path, saving every penny so you can hopefully retire rich when you're elderly. But the third path, the fast lane, that is a whole different ballgame. It is all about building scalable systems. It's about totally disconnecting your income from your time so you can retire young and actually enjoy your wealth while you still have your energy. So, you have to ask yourself, which road are you driving on right now?
Section 2. Rewiring the Millionaire Mindset.
Now, T.R. Vecker lays out this brilliant blueprint regarding the millionaire mind, and it all boils down to one simple sequence. Your thoughts lead to your feelings drive your actions, and your actions determine your results. It's really that straightforward. Listen, if your internal programming secretly believes that generating massive wealth in a short amount of time is impossible, your brain literally won't even look for the opportunities. But the very second you flip that switch and believe it actually is possible, boom, you start seeing pathways that were completely invisible to you before.
Making this shift requires moving from a consumer mindset over to a producer mindset. You see, the masses are heavily conditioned to consume. They are always buying the newest phone, subscribing to endless entertainment, and just throwing money at things that rapidly depreciate. Honestly, they're just funding someone else's dreams. Producers, on the other hand, are the ones actually building the apps, creating the content, and selling the products. Every single time you buy a cup of coffee, someone else is taking that profit and reinvesting it into their own empire. Turns out, the real secret to building true wealth is simply switching sides. You have to become a creator of value rather than just a consumer of it.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core divide here. A poor mentality plays the money game purely on defense. They play not to lose. They hoard a meager salary and obsess over hourly wages. But a rich mentality, they play offense. They play to win. They honestly don't care at all about an hourly wage. Their entire focus is on building their net worth and driving actual results. They understand deep down that time is their absolute most valuable asset, and there is no way they are trading it away cheaply.
Section 3. The Banana Empire Hustle.
Okay, let me tell you this incredible story about a guy named Sam Zamaray. Born in a poor Russian village, Sam immigrated to America completely alone at the age of 14. No money, no connections, no formal education whatsoever. He was literally just a kid trying to survive. But he was incredibly observant. A couple of years later, he noticed something really fascinating happening at a busy port in Alabama. These massive fruit companies were throwing away perfectly good, ripe bananas simply because they wouldn't survive the long, slow train journeys up to the northern cities. To those huge corporations, it was just garbage. But to Sam, that was a massive fast lane opportunity. At this point, Sam had managed to scrape together a grand total of $50 from working odd jobs. That was it, his entire life savings. So, he took that $50 and did something incredibly bold.
He bought thousands of those ripe, discarded bananas right from the giant United Fruit Company. He literally put everything he had on the line for this one single idea.
But almost immediately, disaster struck. The train he loaded his bananas onto was moving way too slowly. His product was literally rotting by the hour. Now, most people would have just panicked and accepted defeat, right? Not Sam. And this is the truly amazing part. He actually jumped off the moving train, ran straight to a telegraph office, and messaged local merchants at all the upcoming train stations. He offered them a massive discount if they just met him right at the train platform with cash. And you know what? It worked perfectly. He sold out his entire inventory before it went bad, made a solid profit, and immediately repeated the whole process. That $50 risk, backed by some insanely rapid problem-solving, became the foundation of what would eventually grow into a billion-dollar banana empire. He found a gap, he solved a problem, and he executed flawlessly.
Section 4. Entering the fast lane.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely demystifies massive wealth. Think about the goal of making, say, 1 crore in 365 days. A crore sounds impossible to most people, right? It just paralyzes them. But if you actually break the math down, 1 crore over a year is roughly 27,000 rupees a day. That's your daily target. Suddenly, the question changes from this huge, scary, how do I become a millionaire, to a highly actionable, how can I build a system that generates 27,000 a day? It completely shifts your brain out of dreaming mode and right into strategic problem solving.
Which brings us right to the absolute core philosophy of MJ DeMarco's Fastlane. Make a system, don't become the system. Look, if your business requires you to physically be there 12 hours a day just to make money, you don't actually own a business. You own a very, very stressful job. You've basically just built another 9-to-5 for yourself. The ultimate goal here is to build an entity that functions and, more importantly, generates revenue, whether you're actively working on it, taking a vacation, or just sleeping soundly in your bed.
Because true wealth, it isn't just about the number of zeros in your bank account. It actually rests on 3 vital pillars. First up, freedom of time. You dictate your own schedule. If you want to spend a random Tuesday afternoon playing with your kids, you just do it. Second is freedom of choice. You don't have to ask some boss for permission to go to the doctor or take a trip. And third, freedom of location. You can run your entire life from a beach up in the mountains or from a high-rise city apartment. Honestly, if you have $1 million but 0 free time and a boss you can't stand, you are not wealthy. You are just highly paid labor.
Section 5. Building your wealth system.
So, the holy grail in all of this is passive income. It's a term thrown around a lot these days, but fundamentally, it just means breaking that link between the hours you physically work and the money you earn. In a traditional job, you're trading 1 hour of your life for 1 unit of currency. But in a passive system, you work really hard once to build an asset. Maybe that's a piece of software, a digital course, or a fully automated e-commerce store. And then that asset works for you 24/7, 365 days a year. But to ensure your idea is actually a true Fastlane vehicle, you've got to run it through these necessity parameters. First, need. Are you solving a real, actual problem for people, or are you just selling some gimmick? Second, entry. Is it too easy to start? Because if anyone can copy your business in a single afternoon, your profit margins are going to be destroyed by competition. Third, control. Do you actually own the platform, or could a random algorithm update wipe you out overnight? Fourth, scale. Can this thing easily reach thousands or even millions of people? And finally, time. Can this eventually be automated so you don't have to physically be there?
Practically speaking, there are 3 golden modern paths you can take to achieve this. 1. Product-based systems. This means creating ebooks, digital courses, or physical products that can be mass-produced and shipped completely automatically. 2. Media-based systems. Think YouTube channels, podcasts, or blogs. The content you create once can attract eyeballs and ad revenue for years to come. And 3. Code-based systems. Software, apps, or AI tools. Code is basically the ultimate Fastlane vehicle, simply because duplicating software costs practically nothing, which allows for infinite scale.
So the crucial point is understanding how the underlying math of your life fundamentally changes. The slow lane equation is simply wealth equals your hourly wage multiplied by hours worked. This is a massive trap. You only have 24 hours in a day, which means your income has a hard mathematical ceiling. You literally cannot work more hours than exist. But the Fastlane equation? Wealth equals units sold multiplied by unit profit. Notice what's missing there. Time. Time is completely gone. If you write an ebook and sell 1 million copies, your wealth isn't capped by how many hours you manage to stay awake. It's virtually infinite.
Now, Obviously, building all of this isn't going to be easy, and for sure, you are going to stumble. But you absolutely must realize that failure is not your enemy here. So many people are so paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake that they end up doing nothing at all. But as this quote brilliantly reminds us, failure is really just your GPS. Every single time an idea flops or a product doesn't sell, it's not the end of the world, it's just data telling you to recalculate your route. The faster you fail, the faster you learn, and the sooner you arrive at the system that actually works for you.
All right, we've covered the mindset, we've looked at the history, and we've broken down the blueprint. Now, the reality of your financial future comes down to one single choice. The world is basically divided into two types of people: those who build systems and those who work inside the systems built by others. If you don't take control of your time and create a vehicle for your own wealth, you're just going to default to spending the rest of your life funding someone else's dreams. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Will you step up and build your own system, or will you just default to spending your life trapped in someone else's? The choice is entirely yours.